as you may have seen during all these posts we have done from a lot of different events, pre-Drupa and also at Drupa and also now here at SuperCORR, I think a lot of people are interested in the story about Koenig and Bauer Durst, the VarieJet, the SBC series, all these technologies that have been built around a collaboration between two companies that are in many ways very different, but now starting to really formulate into a very interesting business. And I'm talking to Daniel. So Daniel?
Hey, good to see you
Good
again.
to see you. I mean, you're the boss of that new, let's say, joint venture, right?
Correct.
Am I right when I say that there is, let's say, two different cultures that needs to kind of emerge and take advantage of all the advantages from the two different sides, the Durst side and the Koenig and Bauer side, or?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, what you see is that the Koenig and Bauer guys, if I may typify it a little bit, tend to be more the engineers, while the Durst people tend to be a bit more on the software, on the consumable side. But actually the combination of the two is, I really think, what makes the magic. So it's cool. You obviously also have a cultural element, let's face it. I mean, Koenig and Bauer is partially Bavarian, partially from Saxony in Germany. And Durst is heavily influenced by its South Tyrolean background. So it is cool, but quite frankly, I couldn't work for a company that didn't have a little bit of a mix.
No, I guess I understand that totally. I was just thinking, because the last time we met was at an open house in Radebeul, and there was a lot of people there. It seemed there was a lot of interest in especially the VarieJet, because it's still like a new thing, right? Also at Drupa, it was a pretty impressive booth you had together with also Koenig and Bauer, presenting the VarieJet. So what is the status? Is it shipping now, or where are we?
So on the VarieJet, you may have noticed during Drupa that we were talking about the betas. So we have two betas in Europe running, and they're actually running quite well. It's now about just making sure that they keep on ramping production, because it's one thing that you have one job done successfully, but it's now about making sure that they do a job successfully day in, day out. And with a digital press, as you're also selling lead time, you need to be on it every day. And that's what we're currently working on. The other thing is that we are also moving additional presses out. So it's a one press coming in fairly quickly. You'll probably hear something about it very soon.
No, I haven't. Oh, you will hear. Yeah, I haven't heard so far.
No.
Yeah. But that. So basically, we're still in a situation where you're fiddling with the last parts of the development, getting feedback from the beta sites, and make sure that you have a super optimized machine. So when you look at, I guess that you have been at the sites and see the machine in production. What is? I mean, because you have a technology that has to fit into current technologies like offset, flex, so all these kind of things when you're in the packaging market. How do you see it? I mean, you have a lot of skills in that industry, so I'm just curious how you see that fit.
Well, I think that from a quality perspective, if we're talking the VarieJets, it's very offset oriented. I mean, we have 1200 by 12 in the DPI, so you can really get to that level. But it is not, I'm not saying that it is just replacing offsets, by far not. It's actually complementary to offset machines. And the nice thing that we have is that we have the additional coating stations that people play with. And that's actually one of the things that many of our current prospects are all about. So they want to understand how we can use those offset stations that you can add to the VarieJets to do not only embellishment, but also do hybrid printing. So then you can start thinking about, for example, hey, can I do certain solids with an offset station, and then I only print the graphic work, or I print the variable work with digital. That's not so easy for us, because, I mean, obviously it's easy to just sell a standard machine, but it is really what makes our engineers tick and go wild and go for every single day.
Maybe I'm stupid, but when you say the offsets, I thought it was like flexo units that was, but is it both, it can be either, or?
It can be either.
Okay, so basically, because if you would like to have, let's say, spot varnishes, you would probably like to have a flexo kind of thing to it, and then you say that you can use the offset for, let's say, if you want to have like surfaces or something.
Correct.
That. Yeah. Okay, got it. Okay.
So we can actually play with both, but right now I see on the true hybrids. So when you actually print, for example, the solids, I see a little bit more interest in actually combining offset with digital rather than flexo with digital.
But I guess this also makes sense, because if you look at at the packaging market, I guess that one of the concerns, and you may have get this addressed by a lot of potentials, is that you have the ink cost of digital is more expensive than an offset ink. So if you can have something printed with an offset print and something with an inkjet, basically the cost of ownership and the production cost, it becomes more interesting, right?
Sure. I mean, it's about that, because everybody knows the math, and they know that a digital ink, it's always a bit tricky, but 5 to 10 times very often. Yeah? So if you can save yourself some ink by doing certain things in conventional, and also leveraging the good things about conventional, which are all about putting a lot of ink in a very nice and consistent way, then you have something that is pretty cool. And digital is just awesome for the graphics, because you don't have that many plates, and you can really play with skin tones and
precisely. We're here at SuperCORR, and that is for the corrugated market. So I guess that you're probably more focusing on the SPC here rather than the VarieJet, because the VarieJet is for the folding carton, right? As far as I remember, right?
Correct. So indeed, the SPC, which is our main product for the corrugated market, that's the focus, at least when we're talking single pass. Yeah. But in the end, for me, corrugated is an interesting one, because through Durst we also have the multi-pass solutions, and I firmly believe that it very much depends on the customer what you should recommend, and I think there we have a lot of flexibility.
Does that mean, sorry to interrupt, does that mean that when that collaboration between Koenig and Bauer Durst, does that mean that essentially both of you can sell the entire palette to customers when you are, so basically let's say I come into a customer and I see, okay, there's a clear need for VarieJet, but there's also a clear interest in an offset machine, and I also see there's a clear interest in a P5 printer. You can basically have a one-stop solution for everything, or?
Look, from a selling perspective, I'm with you, but obviously there's still two organizations sitting behind it.
But you can have one contact point, basically.
Oh, yeah, that is possible.
But that must be something that is giving you a lot of opportunities, because you can utilize the same resources better, right?
Well, that's exactly what we are working on, and that's also why having, for example, again, a booth that is a combined booth, Durst, Koenig and Bauer, Durst, and Koenig and Bauer, is so important, because you almost force, if I may call it that way, colleagues to start working together. Yeah. You have your joint team meetings, you have your joint kickoffs, and people have to learn about each other's products. Yeah. And then it is about picking up the need of the customer and passing the lead to make sure that it actually lands on the right desk.
When can we expect the VarieJet to be like a regular, normal shipping product?
I would say as of 2025.
2025. Yeah. So sometime in the beginning of next year, you will start seeing it shipping as a finished product, basically.
Yeah, because look, what you want to do with your first installations is that they go well. Yeah. Because the last thing you want to have...
you don't want to have problems, right?
Well, you don't want to have problems with any customer, but I think especially with your first ones, you need to build up street credibility. So these need to be fine. Those customers need to tell us, okay, now you can kind of back off. We have the whole thing under control by ourselves. We feel comfortable. And then you can start helping your next wave of customers. So I rather prefer to wait a little and then go out.
Sure, yeah. And with the open houses, with the trade shows, with everything, and the people in the market, is the interest still huge?
Well, huge is a big word, I would say. I think at the moment, if you look at the corrugated market is taking a bit of a pause in terms of investment. I think that demand is not really there where it used to be. I mean, COVID was pretty crazy. I mean, everybody was just running flat out. And I think that as a result of COVID, a lot of people bought additional equipment, not only on the printing side, but also the finishing side, corrugators and the like. And they're probably running under capacity. I mean, you see it also when you ask people for lead times, you see it when you ask people how many shifts they're running. And I think that there's a lot of uncertainty in the market as we speak. Why, you may ask yourself? Well, first of all, elections are coming up in the US. We are here in the US, so what is going to happen with regard to trade tariffs? What is going to happen with regard to interest rates? Nobody really knows. Money has gotten a bit more expensive, and then the big boys are very busy buying up each other. That also creates tension in the market. So I think it's a bit of a wait and see.
If you have an acquisition, you don't invest in new technology at the same time, of course, right? So no. Yeah. So and the demand for the VarieJet, I'm just curious, because I mean, I think it was very brave of Koenig Bauer Durst to announce it so long time before it was actually shipping, because that, you follow that kind of development and have that interest in seeing it and see how it goes from iteration one to the next, and I guess that you're even more excited about that. But of course, I'm also curious that, okay, now the market is starting to get ready to hear the name VarieJet and how to do that. So that was why I was asking whether there is a demand for the machine.
So that's obviously the folding carton market.
Yeah, of course.
And I think the folding carton market in certain respects is a bit different than the corrugated market.
Yeah.
I see their demands stronger.
Yeah. So you're excited about the future? That's what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
but that is important. I should have just asked you that. That was the only thing I wanted to know, right?
But you know what? I mean, I'm actually excited about the future in both markets, because both are big. Both are really essential in the wider packaging play that we have. I think they can do a great job in terms of sustainability, turning plastic into paper. And then if you add to it a couple of things that we really care about, like water-based inks being recyclable, being de-inkable, doing additional plays with regard to energy management. So, for example, in our VarieJet press in Radebeul, where people can go for demos and benchmarks, we're also installing all kind of meters to better understand where we can save energy, how you can go about ramping up the press, save money that way. I think that is going to be super, super important, because the transparency regulation that is out there is coming into force. I mean, the European Union just agreed on a whole new package. And I think that is really where digital can make an impact. And I fully support that.
Of course. Thank you. And have a good show here in Orlando.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.